So one of the frustrations we have, as I spit everywhere. So one of the
as I spit on you guys.
Hello everyone, we are the Stars. We're a licensed foster family who just recently took in 3 little girls with the intent to adopt them. So some of our videos may be a little heavier, having to do with some of the frustrations we have about the foster care system, while others will just be normal family vlogging where we're doing fun things. If you don't want to watch the heavier videos, please feel free not to. And just watch the fun ones. So this video, we want to talk a little bit about what has happened since the girls have moved in. So it's been kind of crazy, to be completely honest. Taking in 3 children, you know,
on top of our own son, so it's, you know, 4 kids, and we both work full time. So it's this is it's really crazy.
Yeah, everyone has, you know, told us, you know, wow, that's great, you know, what you're doing, and you guys are crazy to do this and blah blah, and we agree.
Yeah, we don't like, oh no, we're not. We're like, no, yes, we know we are. This is insane, but we're doing it.
And we knew that before we started this, that it was going to be a tough journey, but we really thought that you know, we've always had a heart for adopting siblings and keeping them together, and these siblings were separated, and now they're together under our roof, and in whatever frustrations that we're going through, and you know, there's definitely been some discipline issues that we've had to deal with. We're working through them, and we're going to continue to work through them because they're worth our time. It's definitely worth the time and effort to
keep them together.
Yeah. One of the frustrations we've had, so right before we moved in, we got a letter from or I should say an email from the guardian at Litem for the girls. The guardian at Litem is the court-appointed guardian that works with the girls and tells the court what they think should happen with kids when it comes to their family court cases. And we have received a letter, and it was really nice, but it was really emphasizing that the mom's working really hard, and please understand that you may not end up having them permanently, even though they've been placed with us for adoption.
It was more of a like, thank you for taking the girls, but don't expect to keep them. Yeah,
and that's what it felt like.
That's what it was. And these girls aren't from our area. You know, we will say that they are several hours away from us, and so when they moved in, it was kind of like, okay, so they're moving this far away from, you know, their biological parents, you know, their family, and so we were positive that, and plus they were on the adoption site. So it was just kind of like, okay, you know, this, we're intending to adopt, like this is what's happening. But then when we got that email, it was just kind of like, our hearts just kind of like, huh, okay.
And the reality is, and what we're learning about the foster care system is, the state has been saying for 1.5 years that they do not feel that the children will be able to be cared for by you know, their mother, and be safe, you know, to be cared for by their mother for about 1.5 years.
Or their father.
Or their father, for that matter, the first year they, you know, and this is what we learn in foster care training, the first year they typically have the primary plan be reunification and the secondary plan be adoption. Well, after a year they switch it to being the primary plan being adoption and the secondary plan being reunification. If, you know, the parents do end up,
they still want to like keep the families together.
Well, yeah, exactly.
As long as possible, and as long as the biological parents are doing what they need to do.
Yeah. So there is the chance, and you know that they might still go back, but that's been 1.5 years now that they've been saying that the primary plan has been adoption. What happens is biological parents will do things to try and, you know, that may make the judge push the case out a little bit further.
They do something like good.
Yeah,
they'll do something that's in their favor right before the court date, and then they fall back on, you know, off the wagon or whatever that's going on, and then So then the caseworkers and everybody else in the state are like, okay, so you're really not doing anything. Let's keep going with adoption plans. But then right before the court date again, they do something good, and they're like, okay, you're doing great.
Yeah.
And it's just a never-ending cycle.
Yeah, that's why some of these cases will get pushed out years, because these things happen, and we're a part of those Facebook pages specifically for licensed foster caregivers, and you hear these stories a lot where it's been 4 or 5 years into a case, and the children still don't have permanency, or they're just finally getting adopted out, or they're returned to their parents all of a sudden. So the state's position is that these girls should be adopted out. The guardian ad litem has been still advocating and made clear to us in that email that she was still advocating for them to return home, and the way she worded it was that the primary goal is always reunification. I think, okay, well, that's not what our training said.
Yeah.
And so then when the caseworker was over, I kind of explained the email to her. I said, hey, this is what she said. I thought that the primary plan at this point was adoption, and she said, you're right. She goes, that is our primary plan. She's like, I'm not sure why she's saying that the primary plan is still reunification. I mean, there's a lot of families out there that adopt kids all the time that have successful adoptions. And
so I'm on these adoption sites, and people talk about what's the difference of adopting like a newborn from a birth mom, or the difference between adopting from foster care. And yes, adopting a newborn from a birth mother is going to cost you about $30,000 or more, depending on what the needs are and stuff. But foster care is free, but there's always that possibility of you may not get that child. Like, you could have that child for 2+ years, and that child be returned back to their biological parents. And
the distinction to make is some foster kids are already legally free. They're ready to be adopted. Their parents' rights have already been terminated.
Yes.
And then there's others that are still going through the court system. So these kiddos that we have, they're still going through the court, the system. They've been 2.5 years in, and the state, like I said, is pushing to terminate the rights of the parents. So they're not officially legally free, but the state still has to move forward to place them with adoptive families, because that is a part of the process.
Yes.
So they could be, and we knew that there's a chance that they could go back to the biological mom. So the next court case isn't until October, but they could get another continuance. And as we've mentioned, this case has been going on for 2.5 years.
Well, and here's the thing too, is like, we're not bashing any biological parent, and we pray that they get better and healthy, and that they're able to live productive lives. I hope that their parents make better choices in the future, or even now, if that happens when the girls go back, or if the girls go back, that the biological mom continues to make those good choices, not just for her but for the children as well, because I think that's the one thing that I struggle with as a mom, is like, I would want to make better choices for me and my children, and so I just pray a lot that they do make those better choices, not just for them but also for their kids.
Yep. And as foster parents, and as foster parents who are wanting to adopt, and our intent is to adopt them, in our minds, we're protective of them. I mean, as of now, even though they've been with us for a couple of weeks, I'm a little protective. I want to make sure that they're safe, and in general that kids are safe, but especially these kiddos that we've met and they're now getting to know. So
they're integrated into our family now, and it's just kind of like, okay, so let's make sure that these kids are safe. As long as they're in our home, they're going to be loved, they're going to be safe, they're going to be taken care of. I'm not saying that they're not going to be loved at their biological family. We never say anything bad about biological parents. We just tell the kids that they're trying. Their parents are trying their best to get, to make better choices, and that's all we can say, because really kids shouldn't be aware of things that adults are doing.
Yep. And they should be, the only thing that they can do is hope and pray that they'll be better and make better decisions.
Yep.
And that's the only thing we can do. I mean, we always tell our child, and as well as these kiddos that you can't control the decisions of others. All we can do is hope and pray that they make better decisions. So that's it for today's video. Thank you for watching. Please, if you like this video, give it a thumb up.
A thumb up.
A thumb up.
Thumb up.
Thumb up. One thumb up.
Just
Thumbs
one.
up. This is just technically one thumb. Thumb up,
It's
right?
thumb up, right?
It's a thumb up.
Unless you want to do thumbs up.
Yeah, thumbs up. There you go. And click subscribe if you want to see more of our videos. And again, you don't have to watch the videos that are heavier like this one. If you want to just watch some of the fun things that we do as a family, you feel free to do that. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.